Welcome back. Today we're going to be cooking ribs. These are St. Louis style, and there's different kinds of ways to cook ribs. You can put them in a smoker for hours. What we're going to do is we're going to put a rub on them and put them in the oven for about 3 hours to get them all nice and tender. Thank you for joining. Welcome back. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to somebody who knows what they're doing. The first thing we're going to do is make a rub for it. Now, you can cook this without making a rub and just putting them in the oven and then putting on some barbecue sauce when you finish them off on the grill. But we're actually going to make a rub for it. The rub is going to consist of some brown sugar and salt. That's the base of it. You want to put in some paprika, some garlic powder, some onion powder. I'm going to put some chili powder. Something you can do as well is put some like Cajun spice. If you're using a mixed blend of any spice, make sure that when you buy it, the first ingredient is not salt. If you're buying anything, any cheap spice, and the first ingredient is salt, all you're doing is buying flavored salt. You're not actually buying a spice blend of that thing. So you
Good info, husband.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Besides that, if you do have something that does have a lot of salt in it, you're going to want to make sure you figure that into your measurements and don't use as much just plain salt as far as it goes. So let's go ahead, put these away, and get our rub put together. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to put the rub together. We're going to add about maybe half a cup or so of brown sugar. I'm going to add about half as much salt. Don't need quite as much, but maybe a quarter cup of salt in there. We're going to put some paprika, maybe a half a tablespoon. That looks good. We need to get some nice garlic, maybe about a little less. Onion powder, about the same. And I'm going to add some chili powder in here, just adds a little extra flavor to it. And we're going to throw that Cajun spice blend. Give it some extra Cajun flavor. And we're going to mix this up and rub this over our... Now, one thing you got to do when you get these ribs is there's a film on the back here that you really want to get rid of before cooking these things. It's a little bit difficult. You're going to watch other videos and you're going to be like, yeah, turning it up nice and easy, and you're going to wonder why that doesn't happen for you, because it's not that easy. But we're going to get rid of this film, and at that point we will start putting the rub on. But this film will prevent it from cooking well, prevent the seasonings and the spices from getting in there. So it's definitely something you want to get rid of.
Then let's do it.
Are you though?
Yeah.
Because what we're going to try to get under it, what I want to do is pull off that film without getting any of the meat off of it. You can see the best thing to do is to get something to grab and kind of pull. It'll come off in little bits. And then we don't need to spend 15 minutes of this watching me do this, so that's basically what you got. All right, so we've got that film off, and I've also cut off a little bit of the extra fat. I mean, these didn't have too much fat on them, but if you got ones that have big fat layers, you're going to want to cut through that. You don't want to get rid of all the fat. Fat is flavor, but you don't want to have any extra big fatty pieces on there. You want these to be nice and meaty and tender. So this is what we're going to start with. Here is our rub. You can see it nice and reddish. And we're going to cover both sides, all the edges and everything with the rub. It doesn't need to be a big, thick layer, but I'm going to add some of that too here. And once we get this rubbed in, we're going to put it in tin foil. Add a little bit of vinegar and put it in the oven. The next thing we got to do is put the ribs into foil and wrap it. Now, you got to make sure when you wrap these ribs in foil that they are leak-proof. So a little bit more foil is probably better than less. We're going to got a big strip here. I might actually double up on it, but we're going to use this first. And the one thing we're going to do as well is put a little bit of vinegar, maybe a tablespoon or two at the bottom of this. So while it's cooking, that vinegar gets in there and make sure that it's as tender and juicy as possible. So what we want to do is, as we start wrapping this up, add the vinegar to the bottom so it kind of stays on the bottom. And we'll take it from there. So Just plain white regular vinegar. And we'll add that much. Now let's wrap this thing up. All right, here they are, wrapped up and ready to go in the oven. You can see the oven's at 300 degrees. Now, there's different ways of doing this. You can do it at like 285 for maybe 3.5, 4 hours. You can do it at 325 for maybe 2 hours. I'm going to try 300 degrees for 3 hours and see how these things turn out. So we'll stick these in here, and as a side note, my father decided to make the helpful suggestion for our channel that we add my wife throwing pots and pans at me to help entertain and, you know, boost subscriptions, but I don't feel that I need to be dragged down to that level.
Coming up soon.
Oh, yeah. Right. After 3 hours of cooking at 300 degrees, that's what we got. We can see they have been leaking a little bit. That's all right. These are going to be wet. What we're going to do is we're going to take these out, put them on the block. I'm going to cut them in half, put some barbecue sauce on top of them. You want to use sugar barbecue sauce, not sugar-free, because you want that sugar to caramelize while you're grilling it. So sugar-free isn't really going to work that well. So one at a time, we'll put them up here, open them up, and see what we're looking at.
Ooh, it smells good.
Leaking, it's wet.
That's what she said.
And as you can see, the bones are practically just falling out. So these things are nice and tender and exactly what you want to do. I'm going to cut these in half, sauce them up, and then we'll put them on the grill for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right, we've got some corn going on the grill for the dinner tonight. That's been going for about 12 minutes or so. And we're going to stick these on the grill to finish them off. You got to be real careful. When they're this tender like this, they're going to want to break apart. We'll put them on. We're going to add a little extra sauce and let them go. Spreading on some extra barbecue sauce on top. Before we flip these things, they've been put on the grill for about 5 minutes.
It smells so good.
Smells so good.
So good.
All right, your scene is almost over. Are you ready?
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Okay.
And they are done. Got some nice grill marks on these things. We've added a little extra barbecue sauce. So let's slice these up and see how they turned out. And these are just falling right off the bone.
Smells so good, Stephen. And it's a beautiful day.